Alright, today I'm bringing you the tutorial and explanation of this 5x5 door that was built together with Arma. It's 440 blocks and it's currently the smallest 5x5 without observers. So yeah, the reason that we were able to get it this size is due to this layout, so I'll be running through that in this tutorial and explanation. And the dimensions of this are obviously 2 wide by 11 long and 20 high. So without further ado, let's get on to it. So here we've got the footprint, and as you can see, this is 11 long here, we got the 2 wide, and we got the 20 blocks high. On the 7th block is where the floor is going to be of the hallway. So this is where the floor will be, and let's just place in the door blocks. So that's going to be just here. You can see on this side, 2 blocks, and then this is the bottom right corner. So we're going to go up 5 here. And we're going to continue this like so. Now if we start off with the layout, we've got regular side pistons on each side. So we place in 5 pistons pushing that side and 5 facing this way. And then on the top we have a quadruple extender, which is 3 wide and central, like this. And we have another triple extender off to the side here, like that, with a resin block on its face. And this is basically so that because we can power down to this layer here, but then we're not able to power the pistons which are that low, so we bring in redstone block which pushes to here, goes to here, and then powers all 3 with 1 redstone block. And then this retracts this far back so that when we're pushing here it doesn't interfere. And then the bottom layout, which is probably the more interesting bit, has initially we have 3 blocks like this, 3 of the door blocks, and then we have a pusher here to push those up all into the door, and we can place this here, but this is going to be changed soon. And then we're going to have a double piston extender here, and this is actually the 4th storage, goes like this. So the 4th storage is going to fire by pushing this block in here, and then that can push this one, and then works kind of like a 3x3 there. And then I can push that, and like that. So that's the last storage. So that's 4 storage we have on the bottom, and then the 1 storage we have on the top is obviously just the blocks in the roof. So let's get on to the inputs now. If we start with the bottom, the input here is going to be like this, 2 dust like this, and we're going to change this now to a sticky piston and a white block there. This is so that we can power all of those like that. And to power all of the next row, we have a dust here that powers this piston here. And we place blocks either side to power those pistons, and we have the same above that for when they're another block higher. The top layout is very similar. We just have a line of dust to power the pistons when they're there, and same with these 2, like so. And this is pretty much the whole layout. The rest of the stuff is wiring. So let's get on to the bottom storage circuit first. No, let's do the closing. Let's start with the closing here. So to actually get power down to the bottom, we actually have a slider which works from when these pistons are pushed like this. Then we have a piston right here which will push down, which actually pushes this storage, but then we actually push that back up like this, and that's how we get our signal down here. So I place the piston there. We're going to get a cauldron and a water. So this is going to be powered like this by default, so that they're all as low as possible, and we have all of the storage in like this. So then when the cauldron gets pushed down from the slider, we're going to be able to take an output from that with this comparator here. Then we're going to send that into a block, into a torch, and then obviously as we need this on, and then we are going to place a comparator here and a dropper and a hopper here, then place a dust and a piston underneath here to update that dropper, knowing to move it up into this hopper and then keep it there. And actually we need an unstackable item in there, so these are all off because it's got to reach 2, and that's why we have that. Just going to keep placing this here. And And what we now need to do is we need to fire obviously the next line up here. So the way that we get to do that is we place a repeater, place that on 4 ticks, send that into a block, and then place a torch here, like so. So that's going to obviously power the bottom line first, and it's going to power this one. So that's 2 of the extensions. The third one doesn't really happen on this side, it happens through the other circuits on this side. So if we do that now, we get a cauldron and we replace that here, so that then we know when this bottom piston pushes up, we can get an output through this comparator that we're going to place out of there, and that's going to go into a block, and it's going to go into a dropper and hopper here, and there's going to be a minecart in between here. Fill the cauldron with water, and we're going to place a comparator on top of the hopper, and that's for later, but we may as well do it now because otherwise we're going to have to break and replace a lot of things, as we are currently doing. So we're going to make sure the rail faces this way. Then we're going to have a fence, push the minecart into the fence so it's across the 2 blocks, break the blocks, and now it sits between there, so when we power the dropper, the item will go into the minecart, then into the hopper, then back into the dropper. This obviously, we could just have the dropper facing into this hopper, but this is again used later and it has its reasons. So now we want to take an output from that hopper with a comparator, and this is actually going to be in a light blue wool, as this is mainly part of the tape on the bottom, but as you can see it goes like this. And then this is actually going to go to a rail to update it as it's being budded. And then we need another cauldron, fill that with water, then take another output from there, and send that into a block with a dust on top. And then now we actually need some lime wool, as we're going into another circuit now. So this goes up, the lime is actually the bottom, like last storage, the side storage here, like the double, and this side over here. That goes into that, and then a block with a comparator facing into the top line here. So as you can see, this bottom line is going to power first, then the second, and then this goes through all of this, comes up here, and then powers the top line last. So we're going to place an item in here. It's going to be a light blue wool, just because it's mainly part of the light blue circuit. But that is most of the orange done. Obviously, we still need to do the storage part, so let's build the storage circuit. So yeah, let's start off with this side over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually place a hopper underneath this piston here, one higher, and hopper into the back of it, and then this acts as an immovable block as well, as there will be times in the end of the tape when this is going to be trying to push, and we don't want it going any further back because obviously that's going to break the door. So I'm going to place in some door blocks here, and we may as well place some in here, like so. Now we need an upside down half slab right there with a 4-tick repeater on it, and then we're going to have a burnout at the back right here. I'm just going to do a double extender, then leave it out. So the first time that this double extender updates, it's going to do this, and then the block's here, ready to be pushed up. And then the second time is basically going to extend this out, and then retract the block back. So that's just what we want to do. And the way that we update this torch burnout is with a slider, which goes here and also powers the side pistons at the same time, which means that we can kind of do the side pistons passively whilst basically controlling the bottom from the top, because the top will push down the slider to retract these pistons and then start the bottom once it's already done its full extension. So it basically powers when this triple here retracts. So we're actually going to need to place in the pistons for the tape here. So we're going to need one facing up and then one facing across, and we'll have a light blue piece of wool here and a dust here. So as you can see, this comparator redirects this dust here, and its other use is that we need a dropper hopper circuit with a dropper facing down, 2 droppers facing up, and then hoppers feeding around the loop like so. And this is going to power this dropper to bring the item across here. And we're going to have a comparator come out of here so we can know when we've got an item, and that's going to go into a block with a repeater on top, and that's going to go into another burnout over here. So the reason that we have this comparator here is to obviously time when this burnout starts spazzing like this. We're going to need to time when we push up this piston and then push across, so then that's going to do all of the storage. Then on the retraction, we want it to fire like so, and then this is going to spaz and then keep it there. Then we don't want it to power at all during the tape, which is why we power this with a signal strength, so that and then this is also a comparator, so it carries that signal strength, as this would only turn on if it has a 15 signal strength here, as it has a container behind it. And the last thing to do on this side of it is to finish off the tape, so we may as well go ahead and do that, which is a sticky piston pulling the blocks down and then a regular piston pushing them across. So what we're going to do is we're going to place a piston facing this way and a redstone block there. We did originally have a block with dust on it and there, then an updater, but we found that this had problems that when this would pull down, it would sometimes, when it had like this piston on its face and it would pull down, it would sometimes pull this down with it, and that would cause lots of issues. So with this tape on this side, we can't get any of those issues. So that was a nice fix. I think we're now done with the green circuit as well. So we may as well finish off some more of the orange, as I said, we still need to attach it to the green now. So we place 3 orange blocks here, 2 4 ticks and a 3 tick into a block, torch on the side, bring that across here, and then the 4 tick. Then that places into here, and now we've got the slider that I was talking about earlier, and we're going to make it red as it's part of the side pistons. I'm going to place a regular slab there, then an upside down half slab there, and then this is going to be used later. And then we're just going to place blocks going up like this, a redstone block in line with this green block here, and we're going to place a red block cutting off that redstone from this redstone. This one is used for powering the side pistons, and we can do the same right here to power these top ones, and then a piston facing downwards to push it all back down. So the last thing we now have to do is the tape on this side. So place a dropper like that, hopper facing that way, and we now actually need to place a minecart. Oops. Well, I ruined my hotbars. Oh well. Let's get out a minecart. And we're going to need a piston and we need a stone button. So we need to place this right here and break that, so it's just sitting and we haven't dropped it on top of this slab yet. Then we're going to face a piston into it from the right, place a button on the side and press the button. So now that's pushed it so that we can now take items from it at the side here. So as you can see, if we place an item in there, it now gets pulled out in that hopper, and we can move that up and down. So that's what we use for the counter for our tape. We have 19 blocks in here, and during the closing they'll stay in here, then it gets pushed up and it will get sent into this hopper and then into this dropper, which will then get sent around here. But obviously on the closing we don't want the tape to start firing from this, so we have to lock this hopper enough, so we place a block here. Also, by powering through this block we get to power this cauldron, which will also lock this hopper through this dropper. So having both of these at the same time is able to lock this hopper for enough time that no items will flow through during the closing. And when we do the opening, we push this down, all the items already left this and gone into the dropper. The torch burnout will start going, so we'll start with doing the retraction. This will power these dusts here, which will send an item through from this dropper into the tape, and that will begin the clock of the tape, which runs through from here. We get an item into this hopper right here, take an output with a comparator, and that's going to go into this drop hopper that we placed earlier, and that'll send an item through, up, power the dropper, and clock again. And then that's obviously going to run out with the correct amount of items, and it will stop at the same place that it started, and it's happy days. So the last thing we have to do here is we have to place a tricky minecart in here. So this is the first clip we're going to have to do. So we need our rail, we're going to need a fence gate, and we're going to need a chest minecart. And we're going to also grab a soul sand or strider, and we've got a piston on us. I'm just going to get a redstone block. So I'm going to place a rail like this, block here, another rail, and quickly replace this comparator here with a fence gate. I'm just going to break this here. So you want to place and break the rail. So you place the minecart, break the rail really quickly, and it'll start floating on top of this fence gate here. And then we replace the underneath with it with a soul sand and a piston, push it up. And you can break all of this and replace what we had here. So it's a block, comparator, dust here, and then comparator. And then to get this piston back here, we're actually going to have to place it like this, push it down, and then replace. You can't place blocks inside of entities. But yeah, and now we need to replace that too. This should be the bottom all done. So in here, we're going to place 19 items. So we're going to go light blue as part of the tape, which is color coded light blue. Make sure we've got an item in here. Make sure all of our cauldrons are filled, which I believe we have done. And this is the last loop to fill. So we're actually going to, first of all, power this one, then bud it, and break those. And if we click F3, we can see triggered true in the top right hand corner, so we know it's budded. And we're going to place an orange ball inside of there. And that obviously does for the closing, powering this right here. And that should be all of the bottom done. So we can test it now by powering this, and it should push up if we put in all the blocks here. If we push that, as you can see, that goes, and it's all 4 storage up there. Something doesn't seem to, oh, we broke this here, okay. We didn't replace in the 4 tick above this. So push the slab in again, and then we place a repeater 4 ticks like so. And then we'll just quickly simulate the top pushing down. So you can see it pushes all the way to the bottom. And then this slider here, as you can see, all the items have gone out of this and into this dropper here, so it's ready to start clocking. And then this will be in this position here quickly. That's going to push down. It's going to retract the storage here. And then it's going to start this tape. And it will track these blocks down during the tape and stop when this light blue gets here, choose a number of items. So we're just going to let that run, and we're going to start on the top here. That should all be okay now, and we'll have a look at it later if it's broken. So with the top, we're going to start off with a bit of red. So first thing we need to do is power these slide pistons here, and we actually do that with a slider. Goes all the way to here. And we're wondering how we did this. Obviously you can't put resin blocks here, so we power at both levels. We use detector rails and minecarts to do this. So we push down the detector rails and it has a minecart clipped between 2 blocks. So we're going to put those clips in now. They're not really clips, they're just kind of more into this block than this, but they still trigger the detector rail, but they don't get pushed up and down with it. So it's very useful. As you can see, we need one here. So we're gonna do a running down rail like that. Just place it and it will run down and it'll be mostly in here. And then we want to do the same, but up here. That's kind of annoying. Just break this. So what we're going to do quickly before we place it in is place a dropper here. And then we're going to make this run down. And it'll clip itself inside the dropper. This is just a visual glitch. If you do F3 and B, you can see that the hitbox is actually inside of this dropper. So this doesn't cause any problems, and you can still place blocks like so. And then we can place our detector rails. If it's not quite powering, you can maybe nudge it a bit. Or or actually the easier way of doing this is using a fence. I believe you've got to place the fence this way. You don't have to use chest minecarts, by the way. You can use just regular minecarts, and that was okay, but I forgot that it was going to push up. So before you test this, place a block above it. And you should see. Oh my god, I'm not even. Okay, what is wrong with me? Push that into the fence. Then you place a block above it, break the rail, and we'll do this. Place the detector rail there. As you can see, it didn't move or anything. So now we want to push this block down into there, replace those, and we want to do the same thing here. So again, what we can do is we can either make it run down like this, and we get a minecart, break it, force all the way in, or we do this. It should be able to still power that detector rail, but not snap onto it, which is just what we want. So we need to push a block down on top of it, and then get a detector rail like that. Place some blocks, and this is now slided done. As you can see, if we place a block in there, push it down, they should all fire. That's just missing a block, and then when you power from the bottom, they'll push back up. And I forgot to place a block on top of this dropper. This is not going too well. So on top of this dropper, as you might be able to guess, is a hopper. So let's just place that in, and let's try this again. All of them powered, all of them depowered, and it stayed there. And as you can see, it'll sort itself out. So it's all good. There's no hitbox over here, so this is all fine. What we want to do now is place an obsidian, as I've just seen at the bottom failed, and that's because we forgot to place an obsidian here first. Let's just fix that. So we place an obsidian there, so it won't push up like that, and then a comparator going into here. So obviously this powers, and then it will pulse, and then starts the bottom like this. I'll place that with a red block. So let's get started on the science circuit, which is the quad on the top. Place a repeater here, redstone block, and a piston facing downwards. And then we've got a repeater here, dust, and a burnout. So this is basically a really cool circuit, but it's adapted from a previous circuit which I made that I only found out once we built the whole bottom that it was dependent on the input. So if you power it with a reliever, it will work, but a repeater won't. So we obviously don't want any of that. But using this circuit and an adapted input on this side, by placing a slab so that it doesn't come down from that side, 2 dust and a 4 tick, we're able to get the same circuit like so. And doing that shows me that we need an updater right here. And now we do a sequence like that. And basically to get these last 2 pulses, we have a ROM on the top, which basically can input exact timings to here, which allow us to give it certain pulses which allow for this to pull up like that. So that's most of this area done. So now we're going to need to build the ROM. So for the output of the ROM, we have a slab here and then a slab here. These are both slabs so that they don't bud these pistons. As this one's going to be on all the time, and then when an unstackable item comes through the ROM, this will turn on, which will then power the science circuit. So there's an output here, and then we need a hopper facing into that comparator, and a hopper facing into the piston. And now we're going to need rails, we're going to need fence gates, we're going to need soul sand, we're going to need regular fences, we've got pistons, we're going to need redstone blocks, and here we go. So the first clip goes into this one, so we want to place a fence gate here. Again, this, I forgot the minecart. minecart chest, place a break, like so, and then we want to push up with a soul sand. And then what we're going to do quickly is we're going to get a slab, and then we make sure it's upside down slab, and then push that down from the top like this, and then we can place our regular piston back. Right, we can push it back in by doing this. And that basically allows items to flow into this hopper here. And the reason why we have a slab here is because when this piston was retracted, it would usually bump up the entity inside of it, but having the slab there stops it moving so that we can keep it there. And then the other clip we need to do is if we place a fence right here, and we do the same thing. So we angle the rail, place break, like so, and we can replace the comparator there. And we can just leave that fence there as that space isn't actually used for anything else. So that's all okay. Now we have our input block goes here, and we're going to need to push that on as well. So let's get our lever and place that. Then we have a torch and a dust locking this one. So as you can see, if I place an item in here, it will get locked in this hopper. Then I power this, and it should get locked into this minecart here. And then I let it out, it comes through here, and then it stays in here. So that's how the ROM works, and it'll cycle through the items in the correct order, and it'll give outputs to this dust here when needed. So that's going to go into a piston here with a detector rail and a minecart. So we'll just push that so it stays here, and piston facing downwards with a redstone block. So that gives a shortened pulse to this, but we can obviously lengthen it if we add multiple stacked items, unstackable items, sorry. Then we're going to quickly run a bunch of blocks down here, all on 4 ticks. And now we're going to get started on triple here. Place 2 blocks, dust, 4 ticks, 2 sticky pistons, redstone block, and obsidian. And then above we're going to place comparator, block, dust, block, comparator. Sorry, I just need some water. And then we're going to need a hopper dropper circuit. Let's actually place in the burnout here. So a little burnout there, and then hopper facing into side of the comparator, 3 hoppers cycling, upwards dropper, hopper instead of there, and then as you can see we're going to need a minecart here. Then inside of that dropper we're going to need 2 unstackable items, so I'm going to place 2 spoons in there, and then on top of this hopper here 3 ticks and a dust. So that's the pink done, so that's going to extend when powered all the way to here. Then when it retracts it's going to pull it back, but this comparator here is going to give 2 pulses from this hopper here, and the second one we use to pull up the pistons from their lower level when they're down here, because the middle one is actually budded, so if we 1-tick these pistons like they would be usually, it's not actually going to pull it up, it's going to need at least a 2 ticks so it has time to retract this one and then retract that one. So the way we input this is we have a sign block here, dust, and a torch on the side, and then we get an output here from a dropper facing this way. And now we're actually going to have to do one of our more difficult minecart tricks, is that we need to place a minecart in between, like so that this dropper can place into the minecart and then get pulled out by this hopper, but then have a hopper row above, meaning that it can just pass straight through and then down into there. So to place this one, what we're actually going to need to do is that we need to get a minecart on a slab right here. So that's quite easy. We can just run one down on a rail and it'll just kind of sit there, and then we break the blocks underneath. The second one is a bit harder. We do the same thing, we run a rail down to there, but then obviously this time we need a chest minecart, place a break, but we need to make sure that it's far enough in the hopper that it's going to sit on this bottom ledge right here. So it's kind of tricky to do, as you can see. I think this might be it, but you'll be able to tell because you need to place a pusher block up like this, and as it drops back down we can see that it's not far enough in, so you have to wait a little bit longer till we break it again. See, this looks a little bit further in. Let's push it up. It's not staying. Let's try again. And we have moved that minecart, but let's see if it's still gonna. Okay. I'm gonna have to place this minecart again. It can be a chest minecart too, so it doesn't really matter. As all the hitboxes are the same. So you see, this one is a lot further in, so this should definitely work now. As you can see, stays up high, so you can break all of this now. And that is that clip done. We're going to replace what we had here, and we're going to place a dropper facing upwards, hoppers looping around, and then from this redstone block we have 5 ticks of delay with a 3 and a 2 into that dropper. And that's just to turn it off at the correct time between our quadruple extensions, or our science circuit really. And then we're obviously going to need that to have that off by default, like so. And now the last thing to do is to place in the items in the ROM. So we're going to want to grab a bunch of different cyan items because you know it's the cyan circuit. Let's grab cyan glass, cyan that, cyan concrete, sure. So the unstackable items can all be the same because they do not stack, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to place an unstackable, and then we're going to place 7 stackable items. That's 8, 7, and then place another unstackable. Then we're going to place two different stackable items. All of these stackable numbers have to be all different blocks. Then we need 10 right there. Another unstackable, another 2, and then 2 more unstackable items. And that should be that ROM set up. We need a block in there. And the last thing to do is to be able to update the burnout to close the door. And we do this by detecting that this piston right here, the pusher, will only power on the closing. So if we place an armor stand right here, it will kind of get pushed up when it retracts. And if we place a string, it will move into a string, which will give an update to this torch burnout. Something to note is this will work up to 1.15, but in the new 1.16 updates, we will have to do something slightly different, which is place a dropper right there. Then you have a block here, comparator facing that way, as it will update the torch. And then you just need a target block instead of this block right here. So it'll move the items back up. And that has been tested and that works fine. So this is just the 1.15 as it hasn't updated yet. But to my knowledge, this should be, and actually I'll break that block because I realised that they're all facing down. Let's push that up. This should be the door done. So I'm just going to double check everything, make sure everything's looking okay. And we're going to give it a little bit of a test. There's an item missing in this dropper here, classic. And of course that's going to happen. But we'll just take the item out and place it back in that dropper. And there's no harm done. Right, let's try again. There we go. The closing has all worked. And now when we test the opening, we need to make sure that this ROM empties. And it hasn't for some reason, because it looks like that this minecart has been moved out of position somehow. Right, so we're going to need to replace this minecart. Okay, there we go. Let's do it again. We need a gate. Oh, we can't have a block here whilst we do it as well. You need to make sure that that's empty. And, we're knocking the other one off now. Right. We'll redo these items. We'll redo it. We'll redo it. Let's just place this one. Okay, these items are just pissing me off now. There we go. So this one's floating there now. And we're just going to push it up with a soul sand. Like that. And then I think our mistake came when we pushed this in. So I'm going to do it with a button this time. We get a button placed on the side of there, but we're going to place the slab in first. So we push that slab in again, and then if we press that button, and now let's see if we can get this one in. There we go. Place all of this. What a hassle. Lever back. We'll power the lever, break the dust, place the torch, replace the dust. Because, yeah, the door's all closed. So now we need all of these items again. So we'll go through it again. Unstackable, 7 items. Unstackable, 2 items. Unstackable, 10 items, but I'm actually missing something, so I'm just going to use this. 10 items, unstackable, 2, unstackable, unstackable. Let me just double check that I've made those all different. I have. Okay. So now when we test this, hopefully we should get a working door. And we don't, because there's a bug going on somehow. And we've also forgotten a minecart. I'm not quite sure how this bud is happening. I haven't seen this before, but we'll have a look. So we need to do the fence trick, just so it's above those 2 blocks. Drop that one in there. And I'm going to teleport back to the working one, see what I've done. Ah, I've placed it 1 block too high. That's classic, classic. Right, so this piston's 1 block there, and then slabs it instead. Could just put that out. And everything's breaking. So we're just going to let it all do its thing, and then we'll fix everything. So let's fix the top off the wrong blocks. And we can actually just move the items manually to speed up this. There we go. So replace all of the door blocks, and we'll have another look. All the items should be in there. Yep. Test the closing. Yep, closing's still good. I'm gonna make sure, yeah, that's fine. Wait for all these items to leave, and we're having the same problem again. What is going on? I don't understand. I really don't understand why we're so unable to do this right now. Let's try this again. so we've got it floating there. Maybe if we have the slab there first. But then I don't know if we're able to push the soul sand up. Okay, yeah, so if we place the slab there first, I think we should be better off. Break the dust. Torch. Dust. That should be flowing into this minecart now. So need to swap those two around. So it should be unstackable 7 to unstackable 10, unstackable 2, unstackable, unstackable. And now we just need to place this piston back in again. Like so. Can break that. And let's have a look. And we're just missing an updated piston there. And the one seems to be working okay. So all I forgot was that updated piston right here. And that's so that this triple will actually work. So we'll wait for the bomb to go, and then we'll fire it again. And it should be working now. Oh, we don't need that piston there. As you can see, tape stops at the correct point. Let's close this door. And wait for the ROM. We just have to wait for all of these items to exit here and that hopper into this minecart. As you can see, it's all working much better this time. And there we go. Alright, so thank you guys for watching the tutorial and explanation. This is a really cool door that was built with Armadillo, so go check out his showcase. That'll be on his channel. And yeah, thanks for watching.